Mr. Chairman, when I visit a synagogue or Jewish community center in my congressional district these days, I usually pass by an armed security guard. And inside there is talk about safe exits and the cost of adding bulletproof glass and other security enhancements. When I visit mosques during Friday prayers, I've noticed that state police officers generally these days are standing watch outside. My friends at Hindu and Sikh temples are worried as well. There's a lot of angry, intolerant rhetoric in the United States and other countries like ours these days, and we know it comes from all sides of the political spectrum. But the guards at the gates of places of worship are not there because of a general fear of intolerance. They're there because of a specific threat from a specific group of people. Domestic terrorists, white supremacists, or neo-Nazi terrorists, like those responsible for the attacks at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, the synagogue in Poway, California, and the mosque attack in Christchurch, New Zealand. According to the Anti-Defamation League, 73% of terrorist killings in the United States since 2009 have been committed by domestic terrorists who spouted white supremacist ideology, as compared to just 23% committed by Islamist extremists. In 2018, there were 50 extremist murders in the United States. All 50 were committed by adherents of far right-wing extremist groups. Anti-Semitic incidents rose by 60% from 2016 to 2017. If this threat came from outside the United States, we would be consumed by it here in Congress, as we were when we awoke to the urgency of reorienting our national and homeland security strategy to fight al-Qaeda after 9/11. That it's coming from within, from our fellow Americans, makes it more sensitive, but no less urgent. And there's more work to be done. Though the FBI acknowledges that domestic terrorists claim more lives in the United States than international terrorists, it has told us that its case numbers line up around 20% for domestic terrorism, 80% for international terrorism. The Department of Justice's senior official for dealing with domestic terrorism, its Domestic Terrorism Counsel, runs what is basically a one-man operation. And in the last 2 years, we've actually cut funding at the Department of Homeland Security to counter domestic violent extremism. This amendment begins to correct the imbalance. It would add $1 million to the budget of DOJ's National Security Division to be directed to the Domestic Terrorism Counsel. In the underlying bill, we already recommend that the Counsel be elevated to a Deputy Assistant Attorney General with adequate staff and resources. The goal is to give a senior official at the Justice Department the stature and the tools needed to lead this effort so that we can focus as much attention on the rising threat of domestic terrorism as we have rightly devoted to the threat from groups like al-Qaeda and ISIS. So let us do more than just condemn anti-Semitism and other forms of hateful intolerance in this body. Let us actually do something practical to protect people from violence. Mr. Chair, I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves. Does any member claim time in opposition? The gentleman from New Jersey is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I urge bipartisan support for this amendment and look forward to working with my colleagues on all sides to advance this goal in the year ahead.